Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Take-Two activating the assassins for the Grand Theft Auto 6 leak situation, and another recent big live service release is already getting shut down. It's going to be a good one because we have Josh Colson on the show. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Hopefully making my debut on a day where there's not a ton of depressing news, which is rare.
It's rare, right? Yeah, we got a pretty good mix of stuff today, I think, actually. We'll get into all of it for sure. But to tell the people about yourself, I saw you right over at The Gamer. Has that been something you've been doing for a while? Yeah, tell people about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been covering video game news almost primarily at The Gamer since 2018. A little bit of everything, but the last few years I've been specializing in stuff like Lego sets, Funko Pops, Marvel Rivals ones up behind me. No, I'm a Frost up there. We don't need to panic.
Thank God.
Everything from, say this week, the Wolverine PS5 accessories to the ridiculousness you and Matt covered yesterday of people selling Pokemon Krispy Kreme boxes.
Yep.
For hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
So like a lot of the collector space, what is that like right now? Is it is that people are very active and still trying to track things down? Is it still Funko Pops? Are there like other things that are popping up that I don't even know about? Are there Neatos that people care about?
Yeah, it's similar to the gaming industry and the console industry in a way, because stuff is getting stupidly expensive, because everything is getting stupidly expensive, but somehow people are still willing to pay for it. I don't really get it. I mean, that doesn't actually apply to Funko Pops, to be fair, but yeah, there's Nendoroids and stuff like that. Yeah, it's big. It's big.
Yeah, it does seem like I will occasionally still see something like the Nendoroids. I never knew how to say that, but and they're like, whoa, that's a huge price. That's a big number on those, and but people still get very excited about them, so the demand must still be there. All right, well, we do have a lot going on, so let's get the show started and explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. Go to giantbomb.com/join to support independent games media and to support this cavalcade of internet video game doofuses you see on your screen from Giant Bomb. That includes me and Jan and Jeff Backlar and all the cool guys over here. And we want to keep doing this stuff the way we've been doing it. We can do that with your help. So go to giantbomb.com/join. Become that premium member. It gets you ad-free versions of our shows. It gets you premium exclusive content. We got some cool stuff in the plans for next week. Next Friday, I got like a fun little stream we're going to do that's going to be premium only. So tune in for that. That's good. Yeah, next Friday after UPF, actually. So we're getting that set up right now. And it's going to try to make it feel like a fun, special one-time event. And if you want to partake in that, go to giantbomb.com/join. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with FromSoftware gives up on today's The Duskbloods network test after 2 hours of failed logins. This is from Rebecca Valentine over at Kotaku. This morning, FromSoftware conducted its first closed network test for The Duskbloods. It's a very unusual vampire-themed PvPvE game coming to Nintendo Switch 2 before the end of the year. The test was meant to begin pretty early in the morning for those of us in the U.S. That would have been 5 a.m. her time, as she writes here, so 6 a.m. my time. She got up and put on some coffee, plopped down on the couch with her cats and partner, and tried to play, and an hour later, they barely were able to get in. Instead, they went over to play Night Rain, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah, this has been the experience with everyone this morning. For several hours after the network test was intended to begin, absolutely zero people could get into it. Everyone who tried was just met with a failed to log into the Duskbloods game server. Select OK to attempt to log in again, error message. Selecting OK just sent the screen to load for a minute or two before delivering a repeat of the same message. After almost 2 hours of this, FromSoftware seems to have given up, and they posted this to Twitter. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused to those of you who are waiting for the first the Duskbloods network test due to the game server issues. We regret to inform you that today's session is now closed. We will continue to work on improving the servers, and we'll announce that they're going to have when they're going to have more tests. Although there are scheduled tests, so I've been meaning to see if they're going to kind of stick to that. But this first one has just not worked at all. And that was the whole point of this, right, Josh? It's like they were going to do network stress tests. That's why they held them at these certain times so that people would all try to log in at the same time. They wanted to see what would happen. Well, what would happen is their server caught on fire and would not work even a tiny little bit. Still, you maybe would want to see maybe not quite this happen, right? Like they're worried about this. That's why they do the test. But you would expect them to be able to get like some people into the server, but that's not the case, huh?
Yeah, like you said, the whole point of this is let's make sure we can handle what is going to be a hugely popular game. I'm guessing even they under anticipated how many people are going to want to play like right away. Because this isn't an invite only thing, is it? This is anyone who wants to get
no.
this
So it was invite only, but
okay.
It seems just about anyone who signed up for the invite got in for the most part. Okay. Like just about everyone I talked to who tried even a little bit got in.
Same, yeah. That's what I assumed. Yeah, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think?
When is the next? It's soon, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? I will. Let me look up the schedule right now. I didn't mean to have this. So the Duskbloods network test. Yeah, times. There we go. Nintendo Life has it over here. And how to join. Okay, so yeah, they have updated theirs to have to say the first one was canceled. And then so the next one Saturday is 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's UK time. So Eastern time, that would be 2 p.m. or I'm sorry, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah, that seems to be the case. Okay, yeah. So that is going to be it's Friday, 10 p.m. and then tomorrow morning, Saturday for UK time. That makes sense. They only have it Saturday over here on the left. So yeah, this evening we'll get another chance. My hope is like, okay, they kind of were anticipating this could happen and they'll be able to deploy fixes quickly. But I wonder if they'll actually introduce other time slots just to like be like, okay, that first test was actually supposed to do more than just have a login log jam, and now we need to actually continue to do other tests to see what happens when people are actually playing the game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't expect it to get much better. I think probably all these tests, at least through tonight and and the rest of Saturday, will probably be very similar to this, and then they will slowly maybe get this up and running for tests on Sunday and Monday. Which is, the last one is, Sunday night, essentially, or Monday morning in the UK. So only a handful more tests. Hopefully people will get in there to be able to play it.
Yeah, you would hope so. Because that's I think this got debunked yesterday in the end, but there was that one preview that mentioned a release date, which was a lot closer than I was expecting.
Yeah, like September 24th, The Guardian said that, and then, it turned out that was an error.
So, yeah, hopefully that was a mistake because, yes, it's going to be a weekend of people struggling to play and then, thanks for helping us test it. So, we'll get right on that and then you can come back again in September.
But it's like this, it's not like it does. I mean, this game's supposed to come out this year. It's still not like there's a ton of time there. Now it's, again, they said that they have a good idea of like what's happening here. They're going to try to deploy fixes and make sure the servers are better. Usually when it's like a login issue, it is separate from like what happens once you're in the game. Those are like two separate processes, like authenticating people joining versus actually running the gameplay and having players interact with one another. So maybe they are able to just deploy more login servers and that'll just solve it. We'll see. you always wonder like what this is like. I've never done anything like this, launch a major video game that requires all these people connecting at the same time. So I always wonder like what does the math look like beforehand, where you try to like scope out how many servers you're going to need or whatever, and then when you're hit with reality, like how those two algorithms come together. But yeah, they're going to have to try to come up with something here, because this game does seem like it is picking up a lot more interest, I think, than you could have expected from a Switch 2 exclusive multiplayer focused FromSoftware game. It seems like this is just another FromSoftware game that is going to do very well, right?
That was what I was going to say as well. I wonder if the underestimation of how many people are going to want to play this, not even the full release, just like, I want to give this a go, I want to help you test it because it's just on Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's part of it. And they were like, oh, there's a lot of you. Okay. And like you say, hopefully they're like, fine, we weren't expecting that, but now we're ready. Come back in 12 hours or whatever it is, 24 hours, and we'll be good to go. Because the previews yesterday were, I don't think I read a single bad thing about it.
Yeah,
it sounds wild as well. Like there's the senator who turns into a dinosaur, and the guy who's a swarm of bees. If I made that one up, I didn't make that one up.
No, I think that a swarm of bees, and then like has I think that's the same one that has a Gatling gun in her chest. So that's a fun time that I need to see for myself for sure.
Yeah.
FromSoftware is very good at building worlds and designing systems. The technical side has always been somewhat lacking here or there. Now they are partnered with Nintendo on this. Nintendo is the publisher, at least outside of Japan. I think FromSoftware is publishing in Japan, but worldwide, Nintendo's publishing, and Nintendo's involved. And I think in some of those interviews yesterday, Miyazaki was saying one of the reasons we were happy to partner with Nintendo is we had a game here that we knew was a typical FromSoftware experience. It's going to be confusing and overwhelming, and we not only do we not try to like teach people how to play our game necessarily, we kind of throw them into the deep end. We know we're actually not good at doing that. And this time, maybe we wanted to make it a little bit more friendly. So we know Nintendo's good at that, so we partnered up with them, and that's why this is a good match. Hopefully, Nintendo, who's also not like great at online services, is able to lend a hand here and get this all sorted out. But we will see for sure. Hopefully, that next test just happens and it goes through and everything works and people are able to play the game and we get a good idea of what it actually looks like. But for now, still sitting there waiting for a lot of people who are trying to get their hands on this game. All right, let's see here. Next story. Riot is effectively putting 2K into maintenance mode. Riot announced last night that it will end active development of its League of Legends fighting game 2XKO at the end of December, less than a year after its January 2026 full launch. Riot says plenty of people tried it, but not enough stayed to create a sustainable business. The operations of the game is a cost that is substantially more than the game brings in, Riot essentially said. Servers will remain online beyond 2026. Every champion is being unlocked, most cosmetics are being bundled, and Riot is refunding all money spent in the game on or before August 20th while letting people keep what they bought. There's also some more characters coming. Lux is coming in September. Samira is in October. And then in December, the final bug fix patch will be launching. And then that will be the official end of development in December. Of course, it's like, hey, what happened here? As I talk to my friends who are who consider themselves to be in the fighting game community, and I sort of keep my ear to the ground. It is what you've been hearing about this game. It is that they tried to maybe pair up two things that were not peanut butter and jelly, not peanut butter and chocolate. Simple control inputs, and then a tag fighter, which people are like that. A tag fighter is like one of the more complex versions of a fighting game, or at least has a lot going on, a lot that you have to think about. And you could see on paper, what's like, yeah, that's complicated in terms of like, how do you choose your characters and how do you deploy them? But let's make the inputs easy so anyone can enjoy that aspect of it. And it turns out maybe that didn't make as much sense as it might have when you did look at it on paper. And then there is the fact that it launched with a small roster, so a tag fighter with a small roster, And then also, most people, it seems like, did not know this game ever even reached 1.0 and launched, right?
That's the bit that confuses me the most, because the same as you, I'm not a big fighting game guy, but build up to this game, my fighting game friends were like, "This is great. This is
Yes.
I know there's a lot of fighting games releasing next year, but this is attached to like big IPs as well. But this is a big one." And then I think it'd been out for 2 weeks, something like that, and then someone mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that happened."
Yeah. When did that happen? Yeah.
Yeah. And but again, like you say, it's I think fighting games struggle to find this balance where you need to appeal to the fighting game sickos. You also need to try and appeal as much as you can to people, I guess people like me, who I'm always interested. Marvel Tokon is the perfect example of one where I tried the closed beta and I was like, oh, this works for me, and I can see how it works for fighting game fans. And 2XK just didn't get it right, I guess.
Yeah. It's Riot does have a lot of information about how people play games, and they know how to. You would think they know how to market to their audience, and the whole idea of a fighting game but with League of Legends characters, it makes a lot of sense. So it's like you do just try to like begin dissecting this thing and figuring out why it did not work. And it's probably just something fundamental about maybe that audience actually isn't a good match. Just because they see their characters in a fighting game doesn't mean they're going to show up for a fighting game. And you got kind of maybe have to let those two spheres of gamers exist in different places a little bit. But Riot, League of Legends is, probably still makes quite a bit of, of course it makes a lot of money. Maybe it's not making as much money as it did at its peak, but it's still just a huge operation for sure. But if you're Riot, Josh, like what's the next sort of genre you try to expand into? They've had some success trend chasing with some card games. I think their physical card game, collectible card game, I guess does pretty well. I don't know. I think Legends of Runeterra is the digital one. I'm not sure how that's doing, but the Team Fight Tactics, I think people still play that. They were sort of the winners of that auto chess, a gold rush that we had for a half an hour that one year. But yeah, what else could they sort of take their characters and their fan base and sort of do with that to expand their business?
Man, I don't know, because part of me wants to say, like you said, like League of Legends, even though they've slowed down the pace a little, I think, of like how often they release heroes and stuff.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it must still make so much money. I mean, it's like just stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Uncertainty of everything. But then, even after this, I get the feeling, like you say, they want to find something else. They want to find a potentially different audience. They had Arcane, which was such a huge hit, but that's finished. So no, I don't know what. I don't want to say trend chase, because trend chasing and gaming right now just is the worst possible thing to do. Yeah.
From the beginning, yeah. It's always been a rough thing to try to chase the trend. Occasionally there's one that like it works. Fortnite was a trend chasing phenomenon, right? But it doesn't always work. Yeah, so it is Riot Games. Yeah, their MMORPG. They're developing that still.
Okay.
And I just saw someone in chat say, like, based on all this, it feels like that game's never going to happen. It's like, yeah, why would we assume that game's going to come out? Because that is still the ultimate trend chasing. A big company with money being like, we have to spend this money to like make a new bet. Let's make. Well, we all play World of Warcraft. Why don't we make an MMO? Okay. Everyone's tried that, and no one else has been able to figure it out, really. Yeah, that feels like one that will just continue to be in development and never actually come out. And I wonder if Riot sort of has a comes to Jesus moment where they're like, hey, maybe we need to rethink these projects, and they begin shutting these things down and sort of batten down the hatches. But who knows? But let's keep it going here. Take-Two subpoenas trove of records from Microsoft and Discord as it hunts for GTA 6 leaker. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Take-Two, the parent company of Grand Theft Auto's Rockstar Games, has filed multiple subpoenas in federal district court seeking information related to the recent spread of GTA 6 gameplay videos. The company has petitioned both Microsoft and Discord for the release of any records related to various online accounts involved in posting and sharing leaks of the game ahead of its November launch. That includes user data as well as data about any associated OneDrive or linked Xbox accounts. The copyrighted material includes, but is not limited to, audiovisual content, artwork, images, dialogue, or other creative elements, reads the subpoena filed with the Southern District Court of New York on August 20th, which continues. Take-Two, through its counsel of record, has submitted a sworn declaration confirming that the purpose for which the DMCA subpoena is sought is to obtain the identity of an alleged infringer or infringers, and that such information will only be used for the purpose of protecting Take-Two's rights. The one petition gives Microsoft until September 4th to produce all internal Microsoft business records and investigative records associated with Microsoft's internal investigation of the CyberLeak persona, sufficient to identify the users and persons, blah, blah, blah. And then Discord has the same deadline to provide a trove of records related to all user accounts that are/were members communicating with Discord servers that involve CyberLeak, and then a bunch of other maybe related hackers. This is the heat's maybe turned up on this a little bit, Josh, because in the last day or so, these leaks that at one point looked like, is this just like old video clips that someone got their hands on? Well, maybe, but then a clip showed up of the person playing as Jason, the man character in the game, the male character, and he shot into the wall the word leak, L-E-E-K, which is how CyberLeak spells their name, suggesting that they have a playable build. So that's been the kind of thing where people are like, oh, so like they can maybe go play this entire game. He shared a video of Jason flying in a plane over the entire map and kind of showing like just everything that's there. So now, this could be, I said turn up the heat. People are like saying this is a huge deal, disastrous, like the story could leak. None of this is, I think, going to materially affect the value that this game is going to be able to throw around, the money it's going to make. And I just don't think it's really going to hurt Take-Two in any actual way that we're going to be able to measure. But certainly they don't like it. So I'm not surprised to see them activating their team of lawyers to go figure out who did this, because of course they are, right?
Yeah, up until this development today, the subpoena stuff, there was the tiniest part of me that still believed this was some weird, elaborate publicity stunt. Rockstar was behind it all, because even though I said that to a few people and they were like, oh, but their stock's gone down, and I'm like, yeah, but even if it's never eventually revealed that it was a publicity stunt, as soon as that Netflix thing hits, it will go back up way past wherever it was before. And Take-Two stock has gone up and down a bunch in the last month. Like, who knows if this is related to that? Yeah, whenever anyone says, but anything happens related to anything GTA 6, something happens to the stock, and it always ends up higher than it was before. And when the game comes out, it's going to go through the roof.
Yes, when they get the first numbers of how well it did. Yes, absolutely.
It'd be wild. But yeah, there was that small part of me that was like, this does sort of feel like something they would do. And then the Netflix thing hits in less than a week, and they're like, surprise, it was all us. And that was really old footage, like some of the info suggested. And they're like, it doesn't it doesn't actually look like that. You don't actually have to refuel the cars. Sorry, we said that. I'm into that, by the way. Me too. I voted in the poll.
Okay. Hell yeah. Yeah, I do too. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that the funny thing here is, like, if this was any other company in any other situation and your stuff started leaking, you could just go, you know what, we'll release the trailer right now. Well, they can't do that because they got a bunch of money from Netflix saying you got to hold on, we get to release it. Now they're going to be crying, or drying their tears with their dollar bills they're getting from Netflix. So again, they're making out here. They're doing better than any other company would in this situation because they can command that kind of value. But yeah, they're going to try to find the person that did this leak, if only just to, make an example out of them. They really, really do hate being fucked with. Rockstar, absolutely they do. And Take-Two, once I'm sure, like Take-Two's like, hey, Rockstar, you know, the leadership of Rockstar keeps calling us up and saying do something, and we got to keep Rockstar happy. So let's pull out all the stops and make sure that we show them we can get results when someone is, you know, kind of being a stinky little hacker. Which, as a reminder, this CyberLake person had a bunch of the gamers' commandments about no more digital pre-orders and keeping games alive and stuff like this. And saying, hey, well, if we could do this to Rockstar, we could do this to anybody. And there's more to come from Rockstar. So they are being kind of like a stinky little guy, just like that, like trying to make Rockstar look stupid. And I know for a fact that the people at Rockstar, especially in the leadership rooms, hate that feeling. They just want to feel like the coolest dudes in the room, and this makes them look a little bit like bozos. Although, again, I think you're right. As soon as that Netflix documentary, Netflix special comes out, we're probably all going to forget this. The guy could keep leaking stuff after that, and it probably won't even matter at a certain point because it seems like there's going to be so much footage from Netflix. I think we got rumors it's going to be something like 70 minutes worth of stuff. It's probably not going to matter anymore, and it's probably going to look much more up to date and shiny and cool, and that will be the stuff people are talking about, right? This is a moment in time for this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's chosen this moment now, because this is it. This is
yes.
After next week, whatever he's got and whatever they've got, and however they manage to get it. I'm just floored that whether they got it or not, that they're willing to put it out there, no matter how much they're getting from it. They're selling, or I think they charged people to vote in a poll 2 days ago with their cryptocurrency.
I didn't see this. That's incredible.
Yeah, so they had a list of, it was like 6 or 7. They were like, do you want to see Jason in a plane, or do you want to see him driving, or something like that? And the plane footage won.
Man.
Which is why that was the clip that got released. But yeah, you had to buy some of his CyberLeak coin, or I can't remember what it was called, if you wanted to vote. And apparently a lot of people voted.
So we've seen a lot of footage of from these leaks of the Jason character. Have we seen anything of Lucia, the female character?
I haven't. No. Well, and
yeah, I don't think there's anything out there.
No, I did think that earlier when more stuff leaked earlier, and I was like, this is all Jason, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a switch. That's been confirmed, isn't it? You can switch.
Yes, yeah. I mean, at the very least, you could play as both. Whether or not it's a hot swap, I mean, I think we assume it's going to be because that's how GTA 5 worked. But so to me, it's like, okay, that might say that this build they have is maybe a little bit more limited than we're being led to believe, based on like, or that some people fear, because they're like, hey, this could mean this guy could drop the ending of the game, and it could get spoiled for me. And it's like, man, you know, my opinion was like, you can't really spoil this game. There's going to be so much shit in there. People are going to be playing it for years. But I get it. A lot of people really did like Red Dead Redemption 2 story, and if you got those major plot points spoiled, that would be very frustrating. And maybe the same thing could happen here. I think they're going to try to go for a story that is as affecting as Red Dead Redemption 2's was. But it seems to me it's like, I bet this is a limited sort of cordoned off version of this world that does not have all of the story beats in it. And it doesn't even seem to maybe have the second character in it, the other character, the co-star of the game. So, yeah, it's hard to tell based on what we've seen so far. But yeah, it feels like more leaks will come out any minute, and maybe we'll see more. Maybe Lucia will pop up in the next video.
Yeah. I was going to say I'd be surprised if they leak more, but I wouldn't be surprised if they leak more.
Yeah.
I imagine there's more coming.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, the toothpaste is out of the tube. You might as well just keep going with it at this point. Go find some remote island to move to try to avoid the assassins from Take-Two, and just keep leaking stuff, because what's the difference at this point? All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, plenty of more headlines to get into, and then we'll wrap up the week with the Bomb 12, everybody. A lot of responses this week. Looking forward to seeing what everyone is playing. We'll be right back after these messages. If you want to skip out on them, you can do so. giantbomb.com/join. Become a premium member. You get the ad-free versions there. We'll be right back. All right, it's Game Mess Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That is Josh Colson. We are continuing on with the headlines here. Let's do this next one. Microsoft has stopped giving Circana its actual digital game sales data. I had Matt on yesterday. We actually missed talking about this. We probably should have, but we'll talk about it now. This from Sammy Barker at Push Square. Microsoft no longer shares digital sales data with U.S. analytics firm Circana, meaning the company will now be forced to project numbers for games under the Xbox, Activision, and Bethesda umbrellas. And that means, like, you know, Call of Duty, not just on Xbox, but Call of Duty sales on PlayStation and stuff like that, because it's Microsoft as a publisher. Circana, formerly NPD, has been a trusted source of sales information in the U.S. for many years, providing monthly breakdowns of hardware and software sales. It's also like, you know, it has point of service software that tracks everything that's sold at like retailers, and that's never been a problem. But this is an increasingly digital industry, so getting these digital sales from these companies became crucial. And for a long time there, they had most of the major players involved. Publishers like Sony and Bandai Namco provide the company with their digital sales data, which it then combines with information from retailers to compile charts showing the best-selling games. This data is then aggregated and sold to clients within the industry. However, as of today's July report, Microsoft has stopped sharing the digital sales data for its games. The Redmond firm joins Nintendo, Take-Two, who haven't provided digital sales data for many years. Circana recently started introducing, estimated or predicted digital sales for non-participating publishers, which does ultimately introduce a margin of error. So, yeah, they've begun using algorithms to figure this out. I want to ask Josh, do you think this says something about Microsoft's sort of long-term interests in video games?
I do. And I'm forever unclear on what that is.
Yeah. Well, what is their interest at all? Yeah.
Yeah. So one day they'll do something where I'm like, oh, they're done. They're not done, but they're like on their way to being done. And then all of a sudden they'll flip it, and I'm like, oh no, maybe they're not. Like Project Helix is still coming, apparently. I
mean, because they're not going to just like shutter it, right? There's like, if anything happens, they're going to spin off Xbox or sell it to someone else, and then Microsoft will wash their hands of it. But so they have to always put on a brave face, and they always have to put on a positive energy. And that does feel like, when I kind of like look at this and I look at all the other things that Microsoft has done since Asher Sharma has taken over, none of it feels like long-term planning. None of it feels like long-term strategizing of like, how can we position this company and the people making our games for success over the next 20 years. That was something that they were doing for a while there under Phil Spencer, and they always failed to like get the next year figured out. And it was like, okay, well, if you could just do both those things at the same time, maybe you'll have something. Never quite got there. So yeah, they changed leadership, maybe because of that, but maybe because they're like, we don't care about 20 years if we can't figure out next year. Let's do something else. And that something else feels like, let's just make sure that like we are reducing costs as much as possible, something they have done by cutting studios, selling studios, and like letting studios go be free, which we'll have a story about. And it's like, okay, so that's reducing costs. And then when they talk about the future, it is very much like, and we're going to have big stuff from our biggest franchises. And then the people making those games, you know, when the word gets out, it's how? What are you talking about? How are we going to do that? And it's like, well, that doesn't actually matter, because maybe they are just trying to make this thing feel lean and valuable, because it does have some stuff that people might still care about, and then they can get out of Dodge. But I mean, obviously, I'm extrapolating a lot from dropping a partnership here. But I don't feel like I'm like talking, speaking out of turn too much here, Josh. What do you think?
No, there's the thing you said about like almost immediately after they cut the studios and then laid off thousands of people, there was that weird Bethesda stuff, and they were like, "Oh, all our focus is going on the Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5," and then they announced the remasters that everyone kind of knew about already. And yeah, the takeaway from that was like, well, yeah, I hope you are. You announced that game in 2018. It was just a weird thing. Like you said, like they kind of make nothing statements or state the obvious and don't seem to actually know what they're doing from one week to the next. I mean, the Summer Game Fest was the best and worst example of that, where they had that. They've done this so many times. Had that showcase, and everyone watched that showcase and was like, "Oh, maybe Xbox is going to be okay."
Yeah.
And then a week later, they were like,
I mean, that night.
Yeah. It wasn't even a week. It was like, oh, actually, we're doing this, and some of the games we showed you, we won't even own them anymore because we're either cutting the studios or trying to find someone else to take them, or letting them go independent, like Double Fine and Compulsion.
And it does feel like that is like how they feel about Xbox as a whole, where it's like, yeah, we are again putting on that brave face, and we don't know who or what we're going to do with any of this stuff, but we do know we don't want it. And I think, you know, the big problem there, and I this is a problem, but it's not one that would be a problem for them wanting to get rid of it, is who do they sell this to? How does that work? I mean, spinning it off to be sort of its own thing. At that point, it would probably be like, all right, but it keeps a lot of the sort of Microsoft integration stuff, but Microsoft is no longer like the parent company. It's sort of like a partner company. Or they bring in a different partner, that maybe one that's like, hey, we'll run the operations and we'll take 50% ownership and we'll own this with you, Microsoft. And then maybe over time, Microsoft could slowly divest themselves of it. The point is, it's like, it would be complicated because it just is not one of these things that they could easily sell because no one's buying. If you are one of these major companies that was investing in games 5 years ago, and then you brought a proposal to your board of directors or your investors or your boss to say, all right, now we want to spend however much it would take to like get Xbox in 2026 or 2027, they're gonna be like, that is money we could put into AI. Get the fuck out of here. Like they would not even listen to them. So it's going to be a non-starter for the most parts, but I still think that this is the driving desire of Xbox and Microsoft, is to sort of get it as slimmed down as possible so they can figure out something at some point. The reality is, it's like the one person that could buy it is Elon Musk, and wouldn't that be a fucking party?
That would be.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be something.
I would want to die. That would be truly.
I don't want to be. Yeah, I don't want to be in that world. I'm good. I'm good.
Exactly. I mean, but he's the gullible idiot that they could definitely convince to buy this thing. So,
like, I mean, like the money that Activision is still worth alone, and that's just one part of it. Like, who?
I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, and we're like, what parts actually get sold? Because they'll keep Activision, right? They'll keep the Call of Duties, they'll keep Minecraft, they'll keep a handful of things like that, King. And then it's like, well, then what is Xbox? Because your Xbox studios, you've sort of decimated this specifically. And but yeah, again, they're like, hey, no, there's a new Gears coming, and we'll see how that does and what needle that moves, if any. All right. Speaking of all of this, Compulsion Games pulls off management buyout and separates from Xbox. Dean Takahashi over at GameSpeed had the exclusive on this. Compulsion Games, the maker of compelling games like South of Midnight, has pulled off a management buyout and is now separated from Xbox. Guillaume Provost, CEO of the Montreal-based game studio, confirmed the deal is done in an exclusive interview with GameSpeed. Everybody got a clue when the Steam version of South of Midnight, South of Midnight basically got a new publisher on Steam and stuff like that. So they're like, hey, it's this Compulsion instead of Microsoft. Some good quotes here from Guillaume. We're confirming we're getting all of our publishing rights back. Let's see here. It continues on. I can confirm that we have regained ownership of our IP. Buying the games is supporting the studio as a result of that change. So if you go out there and buy South of Midnight now, then you're going to be directly supporting this studio. We've completed our separation process to become independent again. And then he says, I did this deal for the team first and foremost. I asked the team, do you want to stay together? And they said, the team told me they would rather eat rocks and drink gasoline rather than be split up. So there you go. That's nice to see that they wanted to stay together, and now they've been able to figure that out. And now they have to go out into the woolly wild world of trying to get enough money to make a game in an environment where people aren't really doling out that cash all that much, because as we just talked about, it's all going toward AI. But they seem to be able to they figured it out to this point, and hopefully they're able to just make a new game and move on with their lives, right? Because this is nice to see that the studio was able to stay together.
This is surely best. Well, an awful situation But this is surely the best case scenario because I think Double Fine have already had to have some layoffs since they
Yes,
went through the same thing.
that's
So
correct.
to keep, if they've managed to do it without letting anybody go, like you said, that's draw a line under that. That's done. Move forward. I don't know if they've got another game in development already. I'm assuming they do. Then announce something, but yeah, focus on that. And like you say, try to fund a game in a industry where it's really hard to fund a game and get people to buy your games right now.
Absolutely, yes. But I do think that this renewed some interest in South of Midnight. It certainly did for me. And so I started that game, and it was a time when it was like definitely like every time I'd boot up an Xbox game, and I think in that moment it was definitely the BDS boycott was the thing that was ringing loudest in my ears. But it was I'm like, I'll play this for a second because I still want to cover games and kind of know what I'm talking about. And then when I had any excuse to put it down, I was happy to do so. And now that is completely stripped away. None of that taint is there anymore. So yes, I'm going to go probably check out South of Midnight when I get a little breather after this crazy season of new releases. All right, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls sold fewer than 3,000 physical units in Japan in its first week. This is from Dave Aubrey at VGC. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls has sold fewer copies than most other Arc System Works games in its first week in Japan. That's according to Game Data Library on Twitter, which is reporting just 2,814 total copies were sold in its first week at retail. Game Data Library goes on to say first week retail sales of Marvel Tokon in Japan were below 3,000 units. This is the worst launch for an Arc System fighter in Japan, excluding super niche stuff like DNF Duel. Well below most of the Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, and even Under Night In-Birth. Very poor launch. This number does not include digital sales, but Game Data Library has thoughts on sales, or has thoughts on that, also saying, I was thinking 10,000 was pessimistic, but now, even with 70% digital sales, it's a very lackluster result. Needless to say, it's also well under all the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Hell, it did less than half of Marvel Fighting Collection, and the retail version was late. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's hard for me to like sort of parse like what happened here because, I mean, other than maybe people just aren't buying physical games for PlayStation at all, or they really don't want this game. But I'm confused. It's a good game. It looks awesome. It's very appealing. Like, is it just a matchup of like people aren't buying physical games and there's superhero fatigue, or maybe they didn't print all that many copies? I like, what do you read into this?
I'm confused because on top of all that, Arc System Works, the art style of the game, I assumed people in Japan would be into it, but I didn't think about the physical of it all because it could be like Glass Half Full. It could be that they were just like, people aren't going to buy physical PlayStation games anymore. They're getting ready. Just don't print as many. But then so many times this year, it happened with Resident Evil, happened with Clair Obscur last year, and there's another Pocopia, I think, maybe. I know it's not PlayStation, but their physical versions sold out straight away. And I same situation there. I'm like, are they just not making as many because they're lowballing how many people still really do buy physical, or is it a case of is that the case?
Yeah, I'm like trying to like see like, okay, what games did sell physically at retail this week over this tracking period. So Famitsu has published its estimated physical game software data for Japan for the 2 weeks spanning August 3rd through August 16th. Rhythm Heaven Groove still selling very well, nearing 1 million copies sold just physically. It sold 139,000 physical copies. Now we know Switch games do sell very well physically and digitally in Japan and elsewhere. Splatoon Raiders, 65,000 copies. There is one PS5 game on here. It is a new game. It is a Beast of Reincarnation, and that did 48,000 copies. And now that's nowhere near what like a new, I almost going to say shiny and big Nintendo game does, but just like, a Rhythm Heaven Groove or any game that they've released this year, basically, they've all done north of 100,000, and many have done like 500,000 in their first week physically in Japan. And that 48,000 for Beast of Reincarnation is in line with Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, which did 43,000 this in this 2-week period alone. Yeah, and the rest of these games are Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 games. Number 10 is eFootball Kickoff for Nintendo Switch 2, and that did 7,000 units. So, and that's old. That game's been out physically for a while. So I don't know, something funky happened here. This game just missed its audience completely. I don't know.
It's really strange when you put it like that. Like, how many was it? Like 2,000?
It was just under 3,000, 2,800-ish, I think.
Yeah, I've no idea. Like you said, though, superhero fatigue. I don't suffer from it. Unfortunately, I'm all hyped for Doomsday. I love Marvel Tokon, but it could be that. Board. Yeah, they've got me. But it could be a bit of that. But then that number's so low compared to these other games.
Sean does, and Sean's our fighting game guy. Marvel fighting games are historically unpopular in Japan. Japan isn't buying PS5 games as much anymore, so this doesn't surprise him. I think it's maybe a little bit lower than I think even that would say, but yeah, I guess that does line up. Again, maybe the game's going to catch on later. Maybe digitally, it's doing a lot better. But maybe Japan's just not the audience for this game at all. And it's like this is one where it's like, okay, maybe if it was on a Nintendo Switch 2, which is not an option, like that's not going to happen. But if it was, maybe it does better. But maybe because it's Marvel and a tag fighter, maybe it doesn't actually in Japan. Maybe they don't care about these kinds of games. All right, Bungie reportedly had 5 or 6 games in development, including Marathon and Destiny 2. Those were 2 of the 5 of 6 games, but most fell apart after Sony's $3.6 billion acquisition. This comes from Anthony McGlynn at Games Radar, who got it via Jason Schreier's reporting over at Bloomberg. Or I'm sorry, yes, I think he did it in a video. Basically, when Sony showed up to acquire Bungie for $3.6 billion, part of some of the aspects of what made that value so high, the $3.6 billion, was, well, yeah, you have Marathon and Destiny 2 you're working on, but you're also working on, 3 or 4 other games in addition to those. And we're very excited about that. But as Jason Schreier reports, those games, for one reason or another, almost all fell through except for their continued work on Destiny 2 and then Marathon. And it's like, oh boy, so things have just like really deteriorated over there at Bungie. And yeah, that's the story, is that the ability for them to execute on those games has fallen apart. And it seems like this is the poster child for the failed live service initiative over at Sony. What do you think?
That you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, I wonder how many of those games were that, because I've forgotten how many it was now. I want to say 12. When that live service push started, or when they first said this is what we're doing. Marathon's made it out the door, and that I've not tried it. Apparently, it's good. It's got its audience.
Yeah, really, a lot of fans in our community for that game. Yes.
Yeah, and people who like it, they really like it. Like that's their game now. But it's nowhere near the Destiny 2 numbers, and I feel like it's not enough. But I don't know what that means. I don't know how long PlayStation holds on. And yeah, just to hear that it paid so much money for Bungie, and all these projects were there that we never even heard about, and then they're all gone. And I'm like, why? I'm still so confused what they wanted from Bungie.
Yeah, it does seem like the idea was like, hey, you guys make your live service games, keep going, make some new live service games, and then teach all our other studios how to make live service games, because we're going to be making a lot. And I think you can get sort of like scratch out each one of those as a success, because they just were not. Destiny is essentially finished. Marathon did not do the numbers it needed to do. All these other projects were canceled. And then that doesn't even get into the idea of all the other live service games that they were supposed to help with at other Sony studios that have now also been canceled or are in development hell or whatever. This is people are beginning to describe PS5 as a lost generation for Sony, because the marquee initiative certainly was this live service push, and it produced almost nothing worth remembering. Yeah. Helldivers 2, right? Yeah, that's it.
The idea seemed to be, let's make a live service game for all of our biggest games. You've got the God of War one that never happened, the Last of Us one that apparently there was some reporting this week that, I mean, it was stating the obvious a little bit, but that's the reason Intergalactic is still however many years away, because they spent, I think it was the latest report said basically the whole studio spent 3 years working on that game.
Yep.
And then for whatever reason, PlayStation went, the Spider-Man one, I don't know if that was live service or not, but there was the multiplayer.
I don't think we know. Yeah, but it was multiplayer. Yeah.
Now, the latest one, the Horizon one, isn't going to plan.
Yep.
None of them have worked out. Helldivers is, and that's. I'm always unsure whether that's live service or like live service adjacent.
Agreed. Yeah, it definitely is like it can be, you know, a like lightly live service maybe, or maybe it's very live service. But the people I talk to don't talk about it in those terms. It's just a multiplayer game they play a lot. Like which is a different thing. Yeah, and that's apparently what they're going to try to turn that Horizon multiplayer game into, a multiplayer game that people play a lot. Which is fine, go for it.
I don't think that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, we'll see if they see it through, because apparently that studio that's working on that has a couple of months to shift it over to something that looks like that. That's crazy.
They've got a deadline apparently, and it's not far away to it sounds like to completely change the premise of this game. So right. Helldivers 2's got a battle pass and microtransactions. Yes, the battle pass is definitely like, if you have a battle pass and people play them, you're live service. So yeah. All right. Finally, for the headlines, Xbox leak claims limited edition Anniversary Series X will cost a whopping $900. This is from Josh Colson over at The Gamer. What's happening here, Josh? This is like the X25 translucent green one that seems like it might come out and be $900 with 1 terabyte of storage. That is exactly what it is. Yeah. So the one they showed off at their summer showcase and handed out a bunch for free, I believe.
Yes.
D Labs, the Bill Kuhn, who is yet to get anything wrong as far as
they seems like they only talk about stuff they know about from their very specific, like, retail-based source, and it's like, okay, cool. Then if they're saying it, then it's happening.
Yeah. So apparently that anniversary console is €900 and will probably mean it's $900 in the US.
Yes,
which is right. Even after the latest Xbox price hikes, which were in June, July, recently, it's still $100 more than the most expensive Xbox is right now. I've got a bit of a theory that so there was that 2 terabyte Series X, the Galaxy edition, which when they did the last price hikes, they just went with, not going to sell that anymore.
Yeah, that was done.
And
it would be $1,000. Yeah, and they don't want to do that. Yeah.
In the moment, I was like, that's probably because even Xbox doesn't want to sell a $1,000 console, not yet. And now that this one's come out for $900, I'm almost certain that was probably what was happening, because they were like, well, if that one's $900, the 2 terabyte one needs to be more. I'm pretty sure that's the line.
That seems to be exactly the case. I think you're exactly right about that. All right, let's start wrapping things up. We have a poll question from yesterday that we need to get to, so let me go ahead and get the most recent data from that. Having to fill up your car with gasoline in GTA 6 sounds good, or what is fun about that? I went with sounds good, and I think this is the whole reason that, I pointed out, this is a conversation, because 46% said sounds good, 54% says what is fun about that. So it is a mostly split community among Giant Bomb, viewers about this, and the people voted in this. We had let's see, let me double check. Yeah, okay. I think that this is the kind of thing where they'll find some light way to implement it. I think a lot of people say there's going to be like a mission or two where this actually matters, and I bet that's really the case. Instead of it being like a global resource gasoline that you need to manage. That's people pointed out, like, feeding the horse in Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't really actually do anything. It didn't matter. This could be very similar to that. But maybe we'll find out either from the leaks or the Netflix special here pretty soon. In the meantime, no new poll question. Instead, we're going to get to the Bomb 12 to wrap up the week and wrap up this show. So let's get everything else out of the way. Josh Colson, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I'm Bristol Beads everywhere with a Z or a Z, but best place to go is Blue Sky. Right now, part 2 of my Galactic Racer preview is up, covering the multiplayer tour stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's so good. Incredible
so
game
good.
from what I've played. Yeah. The part 1 was about the roguelike single player campaign, which is, I want to say I was skeptical that wouldn't work. I shouldn't have been. Yeah, and also Memory Card Unlocked is my newsletter. You can find all my stuff there. Usually covers more of the stuff I do day to day, like the Lego sets and all that. But I'm starting a series of features next week covering gaming parents, basically. So I play a lot of games with my 6-year-old son.
Oh, fun.
And I think a lot of people think kids just play Fortnite and Minecraft, which he is very into. Yeah, I want to start a series of features where I cover some of the other things we play. So the first one I'm going to do, talking about how we play Big Walk together.
Oh, great.
So good. Just finished Hevo 2, and he's developed a really unexpected liking of Soul Calibur 2.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, that works for me.
It's on NSO. So I can't give it a go. I haven't played this for like 20 years. And he was like, oh, what are you playing? And I explained it to him. He might have never seen a fighting game before outside of Smash.
Sure.
And then he saw Link, and then the rest was, yeah, he's very into Zelda. So yeah, all of that, Blue Sky is the best place to go.
Excellent. Well, that's fantastic. More children playing Soul Calibur, please. That's what we need in this world.
That's what my goal is.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Then we should probably talk about what we have happening on the website. In a little bit, we're going to be having Unprofessional Fridays. Sean, Mike, myself, I think a couple of Jan, I think you might be hanging out. We're going to play some Marvel Tokon, maybe some other games. We'll see. I'm going to let these guys beat me up because I haven't really played much at all. And I was watching Mike play the other day, and he was really starting to get some of the combos down, and it was impressive to see. So everyone should show up and kind of see what that game is capable of. Because I think we're discovering it really does have the capacity to support like different levels of skill and be a fun game regardless. So that's Arc System works. So I'll be there and be happy to kind of just make some flashy stuff happen on the screen. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff happening on the website at all times. Go to giantbomb.com. If you haven't, just sign up for an account and get on our forums and hang out. If you are sick of the rest of the internet, it's not like that over here. We got the cool stuff. We got the cool community. Come hang out with us. We're gonna keep it chill. That's our mantra here. We keep it chill. Keep a cool place. We're working on all kinds of other stuff, and by we, I mean we are whipping Chuck and making him do all the work to make the website better every day, and he is. So it's working. So yeah, come to giantbomb.com, and then when you do that, you're gonna see all the other videos and shows that we post, and you'll get quick access to all of our premium exclusive stuff if you do sign up for premium. So make that happen, and we thank everybody who has done that. All right. I think it's time for the Bomb 12, everybody. These are the 12 games that really matter to people who are really playing video games. That's you all. Let's get into it here, starting with number 12, Stalker 2. I believe that new expansion came out for that, the DLC. People seem to be checking it out again. God, I wish I could make time to play through that game. Number 11 is Indicopia, that little point-and-click game that Mike was playing a couple weeks ago. Number 10, The Sinking City 2, a survival horror game that kind of has a Resident Evil vibe to it. Number 9 is Helldivers 2. Number 8 is Marathon. Number 7 is Pokemon Pocopia. Number 6 is Splatoon Raiders. Number 5 is Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Number 4 is Final Fantasy 14. And then number 3, still in our top 3, is Flux Quest 2.
I thought I was going to be here for it getting to number 1.
I don't know.
Let me down.
We'll see. I should have rigged it to make it number 1, because then it would be over. The fact that it got number 2, yeah. It's like now everyone's like, we were so close. Number 2 is Fields of Mystria, which went 1.0, and a lot of people seem to be very into. But number 1, still 2 weeks in a row, deservedly so. Big Walk. This is a game that just is absolutely charming my pants off. and we just have such a good time with it. It is one of these ones where it's like, oh, the people that made this game fully understood what they were making and fully understood how people would play it in every way, and they accounted for all of it and just made it kind of a magical experience across the board. So we'll be playing more Big Walk, not next week, everybody. Dan's out of 10. We're thinking we're going to be, Dan's out on assignment, so we're afraid we might be getting pretty close to the end, and we kind of don't want to see the end without everybody there. So the week after that, we'll come back and try to at least see that first ending for the game, or at least make more progress, I guess. We'll see. That's the Bomb 12 for August 21st. We'll have another Bomb 12 next week. If you want to submit your game, I'll get all of the stuff updated on giantbomb.com. If you scroll down, you'll see the pretty presentation of Bomb 12 right there. That includes all these games. I'll get that updated after the show. And then on the left-hand side, there's a button. It says vote here. Takes you to the Google form. You could submit your game, and then that will be added for consideration for next week's Bomb 12. All right. I think that's going to do it. Josh Colson, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll make it happen again. Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.